Hi guys, my name is Ronisha Horn. Welcome to my YouTube channel. You're tuned in to my new series called When God Writes Your Love Story, a series that tells various stories of how God brought Christian couples together. Ever since I was a little girl, I dreamed of telling love stories to the world. Who better to be the author than God himself? Now, without further ado, I present to you the bride and groom. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and we are back for another episode of When God Writes Your Love Story. How did I know that he told me that she was the one? I'm here with the couple, PJ and Anna. These guys are amazing. I've had opportunity to spend time with these guys, and I just love their love. And so I invited them to come on today to share their story. Guys, let's talk. Let's talk about single season before we get to the good stuff, before we get to the juicy stuff. When God rained down showers to let y'all know y'all was marrying the right person. Tell me about how it was before you met PJ. You know, how was life?
All right. Well, that's a tough one. To go back, it wasn't that long ago, I suppose. We're pretty newly married, but my single season wasn't one that I would recommend to others, to be honest with you. I kind of bounced around quite a bit, starting at a young age, from guy to guy, looking for who knows what. Mm-hmm. I've been a Christian since I was little. My parents are pastors, so it's not that I had a lack necessarily of my relationship with the Lord in my life. But, well, I suppose I did. I knew what I should have, but I guess I didn't feel that really strongly, so I was looking for that love in so many different areas. So I did bounce around quite a bit, and each time I feel like I would try so hard to get back and get my relationship with the Lord back on track, and I would be there for maybe a little bit, but it never lasted very long, unfortunately. So my singleness was a little rough, but I'm really grateful for the time right before meeting PJ, or not meeting, re-meeting, I should say, but we'll explain that later.
Okay.
Re-meeting him, I really finally got to the place where I was like, God, I can't do this anymore. Like, I can't just keep looking for love in all the wrong places. I can't keep, getting my heart broken and breaking other people's hearts. This just isn't, who I want to be. So that was, my moment of surrender. Wow. But, yeah, so that was...
That's awesome.
That's a little vague, I suppose. Yeah. But that would be my singleness.
Okay.
What about you, baby?
Let's see. Singleness. It's much like her. I grew up in church and had... My parents have been together since their junior year in high school, so I was surrounded by love, and I just knew I wanted to be married at an early age. I just knew that. But I was promiscuous. I mean, from the time that I was young, and I got dimples, and I like to smile a lot. I have an infectious attitude, personality, and so I was coined with the term ladies' man from a very young age. And I think you have to be careful about what you speak into your children's lives. Not that my parents were saying it, but people were saying it. My parents weren't mature enough in their faith to say, "No, don't speak that over my son." And so I had my first kiss in kindergarten. Wow. I mean, I was too. That was just, it was something I don't even know where it came from, but it was just in me. And so I lost my virginity probably junior year to a girl that I thought I was going to marry. She was my first love in high school. We went to the same church, and I was heavily infatuated with her. But I knew I wanted to marry her, and so we were kind of doing our thing for a year. She broke my heart, and then I was still pursuing her in a physical way because I just believed she was going to be my wife. Fast forward to college, and I got a lot more serious about my relationship with God. But I went through phases, much like she did. And I was kind of bouncing around from girl to girl. I had a serious girlfriend for the majority of college. We didn't last, and so I was jumping around again. And it was just, I was just looking for love. I was searching for my wife, but I was doing it the wrong way.
All the wrong ways, yeah.
And I think if I had just realized that my wife was connected to my surrender to God, maybe the heartache and heartbreaks that I caused and felt would have been less because I would have been seeking God. And maybe I would have found her earlier. I wouldn't have wasted time. I don't believe any of my relationships in the past were accidents or something that I didn't need to go through. Because I think that each relationship helped me to become the man I am today. But I think just how I viewed those relationships and what I did in those relationships would have been different if I was serious about my relationship with God. So singleness was, it was good for me. But now looking back, I can tell other people, hey, I did this and this didn't work, so don't do it, and surrender earlier.
That's so me too. I'm like constantly like recognizing in my other friends' relationships or like in their mannerisms, like, oh my gosh, no, stop! Like I did that, and like this is where it took me. So obviously I feel the same as PJ. I'm not regretful of any of the relationships that I had or any of the decisions that I made, or I should, mistakes. They were mistakes, but I'm not regretful necessarily of them because I feel like they've given me the opportunity to be able to speak over other people's lives and to be able to recognize things and even like my sister's lives, and so that I can be there for them. But yeah, I mean, if I could help anybody else avoid some of the heartache and putting yourself in places where you're never going to feel the fulfillment that you think you're going to get. Like you're trying so hard to feel something, but you're going in the complete wrong direction to get it. So, it's an honor now to be able to try to help people navigate away from that direction so that they don't have to feel the same thing.
I personally feel like fulfillment will never be a physical thing. Like I think sometimes, and even I was in this place where I had to make sure that whoever I was going to be with, we were compatible in all areas. So, we have to sleep together.
That's such a common thing to do. I feel like in today's culture,
And there's I don't believe that's in the heart of God.
It's like the biggest
for you
myth
to be,
ever.
Like, why do you need to be sexually compatible? If God brought you together, obviously that's a part of the package, but you got to trust Him to have that. And so, just a lot of deception. But when you really surrender, and you understand who God is and who His heart is for us, He wants nothing but the best for us. He created sex. He created all those physical attributes that we like, that we want, but in the right time. So now I know that as a married man. But
Absolutely.
It's so hard to see, though, when you're in your singleness.
You said a quote. My marketing mind just like went off like a light bulb. Like, that's a t-shirt, that's a blog. My wife was connected to my surrender to God.
Yeah, that was good.
That is a beautiful line. And I'm going to put that on Twitter. Next question.
Some attribution.
Right, I'll put that on Twitter today. So you guys go through your single season, and then you start dating. How did that come together? How did you guys meet and start dating? And did you date on purpose to pursue marriage, or were you just dating because you really liked each other?
So March 2017. My birthday is at the end of the year in December. And so the end of 2016, I had ended this relationship with this girl that I thought was going to be the one. It didn't work out. And so I just got tired of the chase. So I believe I was, 24?
Yeah, I think so. No,
3 years
23?
ago. I was just turning 24. I wrote a list, and it had every single attribute that I wanted in a wife, from physical to what she did, her vision for life, how responsible she was, all of it. I just put it all out there, and I said, God, I'm done looking for my wife. I want you to bring her to me. And I just surrendered it. I don't really know. That might look different for others, but I literally just wrote it down in a notebook, and I just prayed over it. That was my surrender. 3 months later, she popped up on my Instagram. Now, let's go back
give context.
Let her give the context for that.
So, we attended the same college in 2013. So that's how we initially met, at Oral Roberts University in Oklahoma. So my brother actually was living, it was kind of like a frat-ish, like a Christian version of one.
Version.
But yeah, they had like their certain floor brotherhood, whatever. And my brother was on the same one as PJ. And so I remember going to like some certain functions and my brother introducing me to PJ, but he was like the king of the school. He was on all the billboards. It was so funny. He was the spokesman for all like the announcements, and when they would send out the videos for recruitment, he was like the face of recruitment for the school. So kind of funny. So, like, that was my vision of PJ, was like, oh, God, like, he's, like, the whatever. But, yeah, so we exchanged conversations a few times. But the only one I really remember, like, vividly was the time when I was, like, walking around campus, and I also had a boyfriend. Of course, as soon as I got to college, the third day I was there, before school had even started, I already, like, found someone, and by the start of school, I was, like, in a full-blown relationship with someone that I had just met, so it's, like, silly, but we're maybe, like, 3 months into school now,
pretty far.
And he's driving around campus, and he, like, pulls up on me in this little golf cart, and he's like, hey Schrader, that was my maiden name, he said, get in the cart. So I was like, okay. And I thought I was all fresh, because I just wanted to have hair like Rihanna, and I just shaved the side of my head like that, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, I'm coming. So I, like, got in the cart, and, because he's, like, the only student that has access to a golf cart. Like, why is he even driving around? I mean, it seemed so cool, but I was like, oh, no. Yeah. So I jumped in the cart, and he's, like, you know, whipping it around, and I don't even remember completely the conversation, but the gist of it was him telling me that my boyfriend was no good for me, and I was way too fine to be with a guy like that.
Whoa!
And I was like,
spitting that game!
Right. And I'm like, this is, like, the goody guy that's the face of our, like, evangelical Christian school. He's been with the same girl for 3 years. They're gonna get married, and he's telling me I'm too fine. So, of course, I was like, oh, I can't believe you would say that to me. You're basically married. But I went right to my brother and was like, so your boy PJ was hitting on me. And he was like, oh, he's a good guy. He probably didn't mean anything by it. But I was like, okay. But that was pretty much it. I had left the school after my freshman year. And PJ obviously continued and graduated. And so that was in 2013.
Yeah.
And then I popped up on your timeline when?
4 years later.
4 years later. There you go.
After, and it's timely for her as well, which I'll let her explain, but I had just got tired of the chase. And I'm not saying in between that chase there weren't other girls that I wasn't still trying to talk to, but I wasn't pursuing marriage with them, and I knew that. And so she popped up on my timeline, and I just like, dang, she's still as fine as I remember.
Wow.
And so I just simply sent her a DM. Me being forward, I simply said, hey, why didn't we ever date when we were in college? And
I said, because we were basically married.
From that day on, we have not stopped talking.
Yeah, we never stopped talking after that.
We, the next day, so after an Instagram conversation, and it's still in our Instagrams, we haven't deleted it.
I have, like, pictures of it. I'll have to show you later. Yeah. It's cute. Yeah.
But she popped up, we're talking, so the next day, I decided we should have a phone conversation. And I'm not, even though I'm looking for marriage, I'm not so quick to just jump into the marital conversation. I don't want to seem crazy. We already went to a Christian school, so it's like, that's the known thing to do. You get married quick, you have babies quick, and then 2 or 3 years down the line, you're getting a divorce. And so, but I just felt strongly about it. So I started asking her about questions about life and what she wanted. And every single question that I asked her was a check on my list. I'm talking about, like, down to everything.
There was only one thing that I didn't meet.
What was that?
I didn't have green eyes.
Yeah.
I was like, I can wear some color contacts. It's fine.
I wanted my. That was for my kids. That was for my kids. Yeah, I wanted my kids to have light eyes. But she just checked it off. And in the middle of the conversation, I was playing basketball, and nothing could come in between me and my basketball. So I was in the gym with my headphones on, playing a full game of 3-on-3, and we're on the phone talking about life.
What?
And I'm like, it was that serious. It was that serious. And so
I didn't know how serious that was for him either until later on, like, getting to know him. I was just like, oh, he's just talking to me while he's at the gym. But as I got to know him, I realized, like, how serious that was. The fact that he, like, sacrificed potentially winning a game to have a full conversation with me. Because he was about to be going to play overseas. So he was preparing for a professional career. So, like, the fact that he, for then weeks to come, was, like, constantly talking to me even while he was in the gym or whatever, it's crazy.
Wow.
Yeah. So
but yeah, let me explain for me, the same time that he reached out to me on Instagram, I was on a family vacation, and I was with my brother and his wife who had recently gotten married, and I really look up to them. And so I was kind of having this conversation with my brother and his wife, and then my parents, and just kind of explaining to them, like, I've really messed up. Like, I have just put myself through so much heartache for no reason, and I'm so tired of it. And I had been out of relationship at that point. Well, I had been in some, like, toxic on and off type of thing, but I hadn't been in a full-blown relationship in at least a year. And so I was just saying, like, I just want to let you guys know so that you can hold me accountable, that I'm not going to keep pursuing things. Because that was what I was known for, is, like, I was like, oh, I can reach out to somebody, or I don't have to wait for him to come to me. I'm going to go to him. And so I was always the one to, like, to pursue and to pursue. And I felt like even, like, financially, I was the one to put myself on the line. And I was the one to try to keep our relationship with God on track. And I was the one to try to make it all happen. And I was just constantly doing this to myself. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not going to reach out to guys anymore. Like, I'm not going to keep, like, going on this chase. And that's just not the role that I want to play anymore. Not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I just realized for me, like, I could not keep doing that. I didn't feel like it was right in my spirit anymore.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to pursue anyone. I'm going to wait for someone to finally pursue me. And when he pursues me, I know it's going to be right. Ooh. And I was like, but that's it. I'm letting you all know so that you can hold me accountable.
Yeah.
4 hours later, I get a message from PJ. Now, of course, like,
4 hours.
4 hours later.
So me, it was 3 months for me, and 4 hours.
4 hours later. Now, obviously, that's, like, at first I was, like, showed my brother, because I hadn't talked to him in 4 years, and my brother was still friends with him. So I, like, showed him, and I, like, rolled my eyes, like, look what PJ just sent me. And he was like, oh my God, I love PJ. That's the kind of guy that you should be with.
Wow.
And I was like, I just told you, I'm not pursuing anybody. And he was like, well, he reached out to you. So I was like, yeah, we'll see where this conversation goes. Maybe an hour into the conversation, I wish I could pull up the text, but he said verbatim the word pursue. He was like, I'm just trying to find a girl that I can pursue. And then, explained, like, his faith behind it and everything. And I was just like, what? What? So I showed it to my parents at this point, and my parents were like, wow. Well, that's actually kind of strange, because they had just heard what I said. And so my dad was like, okay, well, that's interesting. Like, there was no denying what just happened.
Yeah.
For her dad, that's more powerful, because later on, as I continued to pursue her, I bought plane tickets to come to Cleveland. I was living in Tulsa, wasn't making that much money. I was preparing to go overseas, but she was just a priority for me. So I came to Cleveland twice, came to visit, and the first time I came, her dad gave me a book about marriage, and in the back he gave me a $50 bill and told me, that was kind of like our conversation about it, but I think he knew that I was going to be her husband.
He knew. Yeah. So what was that final sign right before you proposed, or obviously you
that's a good question.
What was that where you're like, I need to do it now, I feel like I got the clear from God, he's spoken to me? What was that moment?
I don't know if there was that for me. I think the whole time was confirmation that she was going to be the one, and I think God gave me the freedom to choose when that was going to be. And I think the most important part about the whole pursuit was just being intentional. I was intentional from start to finish.
And I had never experienced anything like that. Actually, even a few months into it, like, we went off pretty quickly, just because, like, it was just all coming together. We were both, like, pursuing marriage, and so it just aligned so well. But about, like, maybe 4 months in, before we had said I love you, I think, and that we, like, officially really put a title on it, but, like, we knew, I, like, freaked out, because I had never experienced someone, to treat me this way, to, like, fully pursue and be so intentional and authentic. That was so foreign to me that I almost ruined all of it, because I just was like, felt like I had to retreat back to old ways, like, oh, this is too good to be true, this can't be, nothing is this good, like, it just can't be real. And so thankfully I got my head on straight and I didn't ruin it all. But I almost did, because I feel like that's so common for people, is like, they have this amazing thing come their way, but because they've been so so hurt, or they've hurt other people, or they've just been in so many toxic things, they can't even see the good thing in front of them because they're not there. They're not like emotionally stable. They're not, you know, their relationship with the Lord isn't right. So they can't see how good this thing is in front of them. So that was a big deal.
Yeah.
So this is so good, guys. Thank you so much for sharing this. It's my first time hearing your story, so I'm over here like, I forgot I'm supposed to be working. Since we have to wrap up now, but before we do, we're really quickly, 60 seconds, what advice would you give for, you know, a single or someone dating? What advice would you give on how important it is to hear the Lord before you make that step about choosing your spouse?
Don't forsake who God's called you to be in your purity just because you think that a person that you like or are attracted to is the one. That's detrimental to your body, your temple, but also theirs. And I realize that when you view every woman as a sister, it changes your perspective of what you want to do with them or how you see them in a natural standpoint. And I had to get to that place where I was just tired of the back and forth game. And so when I did that, you know, God brought me my wife. So men, just hold it down. Just hold it down.
My mom's advice would be just keep your pants on. You can't do anything too bad if you have your pants on.
Good stuff, guys. Thank you so much for being here today. Thank you guys for being with us today. Like, comment, subscribe, leave questions below. Guys, I appreciate you so much. There are more stories to come. When God Writes Your Love Story. The best story ever, right?